So recently, Google has ruined their iconic search by replacing everything human about it with AI. Now, AI overviews are going to be blasting you in the face, and it's already been experiencing huge bugs. Like when you were going ahead and searching up certain words on Google, and the website actually just breaks. They act like you're giving them a command as opposed to asking the definition of a word or the origin of it. But hey, why don't we go ahead and disregard all of that and go ahead and talk about voting with our feet? What is something that we can do to go ahead and protest Google and Google search as a whole to make them think, wow, we really made a mistake and we're losing a lot of users now? Well, obviously, the main thing that we can do is go ahead and find an alternative. The leader of search organization at Google said this is the biggest upgrade to our iconic search box since its debut over 25 years ago. I would definitely go ahead and replace upgrade with other words like downgrade, catastrophe, anything like that. Because ever since Google has essentially turned into a glorified ChatGPT, everyone's been looking for an alternative. So why don't we go ahead and talk about some of the most popular ones? So the first and most obvious search engine that a lot of people have been pointing to is DuckDuckGo. So DuckDuckGo is a free search engine that makes money by selling ads, but unlike Google, it doesn't collect user data in the form of search, browsing, and purchase history. Instead, DuckDuckGo chooses what ads to serve based on the topic of your search. So if you search for concert tickets, you might see an ad for SeatGeek. Like many alternative search engines, DuckDuckGo has an interface that's reminiscent of Google, and like Google, it can display an AI-generated answer to a question in your search results. But if that bothers you, which obviously it does, that's why everyone's switching, DuckDuckGo allows you to simply opt out of AI features in the settings menu, something that Google has a really hard time doing, trying to make it so people can opt out of all their AI crap. So DuckDuckGo looks like this over here. You have an Ask AI button over here, but I will never be using this, and I'm sure most of you guys never will either. So just make sure it is written on search over here. And why don't we go ahead and search up the word that a lot of people have been searching up recently, disregard. And as you can see, and this is what Google should have done when you were actually looking up the word, the first thing that DuckDuckGo does is define the word first, and then it gives you those 10 links that Google is supposed to be doing of different definitions and origins of the word. There is actually a way to make it so you don't see AI searches on Google as well, other than the one that we talked about last video where you set your location as France. When you search up something on Google to make it so you don't see the AI overview, I mean, they took it out for disregard because they were so embarrassed from all the criticism they got for it. You just go over here to more and you press web. If you press web, I believe it doesn't matter what you look up, you actually won't see any AI overviews at all. For example, if you look up the word aggravated, as you can see, it just shows those 10 links where most of it is definitions, and there is some felonious aggravated assault terms as well. But right when I go over to all, immediately the AI overview slaps me in the face. But hey, we're trying to protest Google, right? So let's focus a little bit more on their alternatives. Just wanted to let you guys know about that thing. So Startpage is actually a proxy for Google. So it's different than DuckDuckGo and other alternatives because it's not actually its own separate thing. The Startpage acts as a middleman between you and Google. So when you search for something on Startpage, the company strips personal data like your IP address from your query, sends it to Google via the cloud, and returns the information to you. So it's Google without Google knowing who you are. The downside is, well, it's still Google. At least Startpage lets you turn off AI features. So if you go over to Startpage over here, startpage.com, right? Let's go ahead and, we obviously have to look up disregard, right? So when we go ahead and look it up, yep, same thing. It just goes ahead and shows you the definition of it immediately. And it does actually give you that option to turn off AI overviews as well. I just love how now when you are Googling disregard, and this will change in the future, you immediately see those stories of disregard being criticized in Google's AI overview. I think that's awesome. So another one is and UDM equals 14. Now, I'm pretty dumb and I'm not tech savvy at all. So maybe this is some sort of like code word for some like technological jargon or something, but they definitely could have picked a better name, man. I mean, how are people going to remember that? But anyways, what if you took Startpage and made it simpler? The search engine, this is named for the string of characters that appends to all of your searches on Google. So, again, I see what they did there. That's very clever, but in terms of branding and being memorable, I don't know about that name. But regardless, if you add that to your Google searches, you'll get the same Google results, only without an AI overview. But doing that yourself after every search is pretty annoying. That's why this website does it for you automatically. The developer even put the code on GitHub so you can run your own version of this if that's your thing. If you're concerned about privacy, then you'd probably opt for Startpage over this one, but both will basically get you AI-free Google. So if we go ahead and search up something over here, well, we're just going to keep going and searching up disregard. It actually pops you back over to Google search, right? This is actually Google over here. This is not a different website. But as you can see, right after I press enter after searching up the word, it immediately pops me over to the web tab on Google as opposed to all, which is what I was saying earlier. It is hidden over here when you press all. So for example, when you Google anything, you're immediately going to see these tabs in order, right? And web is actually hidden over here. But when you filter by web, then you immediately get rid of all the AI overviews. I assume that Google did that on purpose because they obviously want you to rely on their AI mode crap instead of actual web searches. So next one is the classic, right? Brave. So Brave has been a competitor to Google and one of their biggest adversaries for years now. And it's honestly been one of their biggest adversaries when it comes to YouTube. As I'm sure you guys know, Brave browser is famous for essentially having ad-free viewing on YouTube, right? YouTube is constantly trying to patch all the ad-free viewing on Brave browser. In fact, today, a lot of people were getting some messages saying that there's playback errors on Brave, but Brave is usually able to release some sort of patch to fix it, right? So Brave and Google are already at odds. So it's no surprise that Brave also wants to be a competitor to Google in the search engine space as well. The browser is built atop Chromium, which is the same open source base as Google Chrome. You can use Chrome extensions within the Brave browser, so if you don't want to use Google Chrome, but you can't function without your LastPass plugin, Brave could be for you. It allows users to apply certain third-party goggles to their searches, which curate the results. These include news from the right, news from the left, tech blogs, and some other more niche options like Hacker News, 1K Shorts, and stuff like that. And yes, Brave does allow you to toggle AI features on and off. Google still doesn't allow you to do this, which is really, really sad. And also, Brave clowns on Google all the time on Twitter, and I actually think that that's really funny. Moving on to Ecosia. So Ecosia is another one that is both a browser and a search engine, and it's also built atop Chromium, meaning that your Chrome plugin should work on Ecosia too. I don't know if I'm saying this word right, by the way, I don't know. But they advertise themselves as the search engine that plants trees. So they make money from ads, but it donates about 80% of its income to tree planting initiatives around the world. Tree planting can sometimes be a red flag for greenwashing, but Ecosia works with communities involved in local reforestation efforts, publishes monthly financial reports for transparency, and blogs about the actual impact of its efforts. So big shout out to them. Love it when organizations are actually trying to help out the world. But there was one that I noticed that this article left off that I wanted to talk about too, which is Bing, right? Now I understand that Bing is a Microsoft product and Microsoft themselves are full of slop crap and they do a lot of bad stuff, but I just wanted to point out that it is an alternative to Google search, obviously. Now, obviously I understand that people don't really want to support Microsoft, which I totally get that. I'm just letting you guys know that Bing is also another very popular alternative to Google search. Now, there are other ways that you can make it so you get rid of AI searches on Google as well, but a lot of them are very tedious. So for example, if you were actually to look up anything on Google, like for example, the word aggravated that we were looking up. So if you go ahead and put in -AI or -AI, whatever you want to call it or whatever, right? It actually will get rid of the AI overview and it'll just show you the definition right away. Now, obviously the issue with that is you would have to put -AI at the end of anything that you type to make it so you get rid of the AI mode, when in reality, Google should just have some sort of tab over here that says, turn AI off, turn AI on, right? That would make it super easy. And also, as we pointed out earlier, you can also just go ahead and press more and press web, and you will go ahead and see the non-AI results right there. But yeah, here's some options for search engines that you guys can use other than Google. And yes, I understand the convenience of Google, and I understand that they probably have the biggest plethora of information. But the thing is that with these companies like, Google and Discord or whatever, I mean, no company is really on the level of Google other than like Meta and Nvidia and stuff like that, right? But the fact that these gigantic companies think that they can just do whatever they want and everybody's just going to keep using their products because people are just too lazy to switch, here are some alternatives for you guys that actually want to protest, right? And some of them are actually really, really good, right? Like DuckDuckGo, I have used before, and it is actually a very reliable search engine. Brave, obviously, as you guys know, I use for my live streams. Brave search is honestly really good. And honestly, it is just a way to protest all of the AI crap that is going on in the world right now. I am personally, and I'm sure most of you guys are as well, sick and tired of AI being shoved into absolutely everything. I understand that AI can be helpful with some things, but for the most part, 99% of the time, it is just a nuisance. It's very, very annoying, and all it does is harm the world. And it's not good for the world in terms of environmental reasons, in terms of attention span reasons. I mean, all these AI generated videos, it just makes me sick to my stomach. But yeah, let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the situation in the comments. Here are some alternatives to Google. Hopefully we can make a big enough difference to where Google has to walk back all their AI crap updates. Please leave a like in the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.